We're diving into a topic every pet parent should hear, one that could genuinely add years to your dog's or cat's life. Pet diabetes is on the rise, and too often it's diagnosed when it's already advanced. But it doesn't have to be that way.
Today, we're breaking it all down from early warning signs to everyday habits that support long term health to help them live longer, healthier, happier lives.
Welcome to Unleash Curiosity by Vital Pet Life.
I'm Dr. Amber De Silva, veterinarian and advocate for integrative pet care.
And I'm Donie Yamamoto, founder and CEO of Vital Pet Life. We're so glad you're here.
This is a space where curiosity, compassion, and science converge, where we explore the powerful mind-body connection that supports your pet's health and your own.
Each week, we'll dive deep into the world of pet wellness, breaking down myths, exploring ingredients, and learning from expert voices across the industry.
From nutrition and sustainability to transparency and advocacy, we're here to help you feel more confident, connected, and informed in your care choices.
So let's get into it, because when we know better, we do better. This is Unleash Curiosity. As we close out the year, we're diving into a topic every pet parent should hear, one that could genuinely add years to your dog's or cat's life. Pet diabetes is on the rise, and too often it's diagnosed when it's already advanced. But it doesn't have to be that way.
Exactly. So today, we're breaking it all down from early warning signs to everyday habits that support long term health. We'll explain what's happening inside your pet's body and what you can start doing now to help them live longer, healthier, happier lives.
Welcome back to Unleash Curiosity. I'm Donie Yamamoto, CEO and founder of Vital Pet Life.
And I'm Dr. Amber De Silva, DVM. Let's get started.
Dr. Amber, as we head into the new year, why is this the perfect time for pet parents to reassess their pet's health, especially when it comes to diabetes?
Well, I think at the, as 1 year ends and another year begins, we all kind of start thinking about maybe those things that we want to do better on next year, or things that we've forgotten about that we want to start again. So I think it's just a good reminder to reset.
And then, it's end of the year, a lot of treats, a lot of gatherings. And, when we're busy, it's kind of easy for us to just like hand over a treat to the fur babies so that they won't bother us. So I think this is a good topic. Yeah. So how common is diabetes becoming in pets, and why are cases increasing?
So if you look at the number of cases, so in dogs, it's about 1 in every 300 dogs. And for cats, it's about 1 of every 200. So the cases, I think it's hard to know exactly why they're increasing, but I think a lot of it has to do with,
Would you
nutrition.
think, do you think it's because of all there's a lot of like buzz about like humanization of pets, like the treats that we give them. A lot of companies are coming out with like, um, functional treats. Do you think it could be because of the formulas, like, additives in it, or sort of like, what do
Yeah,
you call it? The bonding stuff, like, ingredients that they add on food and all those stuff. Yeah.
I think it's hard to say if that's like a direct cause or maybe, just um a side issue, but I definitely think nutrition, diet. The other thing is like people are getting more pets and they're testing more. And so if you're testing more, you're going to find more cases. So I think there's a lot of things that go into why. And we'll talk a little bit later about this, but diabetes in dogs happens differently than cats, and so that's the different causes.
Okay, well, can you walk us through how to detect the early signs of diabetes and how to prevent it?
Yeah, so common signs of diabetes that you're going to see are drinking more water and peeing more. And especially in cats, because, lots of dogs drink water, like they just sit at the water bowl and drink. But if you see a cat doing that, that's definitely abnormal. And then, like having pee accidents in the house when they've been potty trained before. And then in cats, Because what can happen when they have a really high level of glucose in their blood, that it spills over into the urine. It actually overwhelms the kidney's capacity to reabsorb some of that glucose. And so you'll have basically sugar in the urine. And so you'll get like these sticky urine spots for dogs that if they pee on the floor, carpets or linoleum or whatever. And then cats, you can see like the litter sticking to their paws because it's so sugary. So sticky urine, definitely. And then an increased appetite with either maintaining or losing weight. So they'll be hungry all the time, but they're losing weight. And then lethargy. So they don't have a lot of energy. So those are the most common signs you'll see with diabetes. Now in dogs and cats, they happen a little bit differently, but, just overall good lifestyle choices. So, keeping them at a good weight, having a good amount of exercise, high quality nutrition, all of those things are going to help to decrease the risk of diabetes.
Wow. Well, are there certain breeds or ages that are more prone to developing diabetes?
Yeah, there's actually quite a few breeds that are more at risk for diabetes. In dogs, German Shepherds, Dobermans, Cocker Spaniels, Dachshunds, Labs and Golden Retrievers, Terriers, Pomeranians,
Labs.
Toy Poodles, and the list goes on and on. Yeah, so there are a lot of breeds that are prone to diabetes. And then we most commonly diagnose it between ages of 4 and 14. And then unspayed females are actually twice as likely as males to develop diabetes. And some of that has to do with the hormone issues. The female hormones are kind of counter regulating insulin. And so they're more at risk of developing diabetes. Now, in cats, though, the major factor is obesity. We'll go into this again, but overweight cats are definitely at a very high risk of diabetes.
Oh, gosh. Well, what happens inside the body when a pet develops diabetes?
That's a great question. So let's start with dogs. Dogs tend to develop type 1 diabetes, which is almost exactly like type 1 diabetes in people. So we think there's an autoimmune component, that the pancreas can't produce insulin any longer. And insulin is really important. It has a few different jobs that it does, but one of its major jobs is to pull glucose from the blood, from an ingested meal. It's broken down, glucose is in the blood. Insulin will take that free glucose and put it into the cells to use as energy. So in type 1 diabetes, like dogs get, they don't have enough insulin and they have a lot of glucose in their blood that can't get into the cells for energy. So that's one of the reasons why you'll see they're eating, because they feel like on a cellular level, their body actually is starving. And so, they feel like they're starving, they're eating, but they're losing weight because they can't use the energy that they're eating. Now, in cats tend to get type 2 diabetes. So just like in people who are overweight, have a poor diet, cats are the same way. So with cats, they typically have high levels of insulin. They're producing too much insulin, actually, but their body's not responding to it. They're not sensitive to that insulin. So then you have the high glucose in the blood, and the glucose can't get into the cells to use as energy. So type 1 in dogs, type 2 in cats, very similar to what happens in people.
Gosh. Oh, so what are the most impactful lifestyle changes a pet parent can make, especially now going to the new year, to prevent their pets from being diabetic?
Yeah. So again, we've
It's
high
like
quality
over.
nutrition. I know, it's like high quality nutrition, weight loss. Those are the two biggest things. Good exercise and to keep them at a normal weight. So dogs can be kind of insulin resistant when they're overweight. Typically not at type 2 diabetics, but even type 1 diabetics, it's important to keep them at a normal weight. And then definitely watch for those symptoms.
I mean, before you can I ask for something like, is there like a certain test that you can do? You know how Tuxedo was diagnosed with Addison's from the blood. Is there a certain margin or a marker that a pet parent like me should know in their next wellness check or their next wellness visit to the vet, like in the blood work? Is there something that
Yeah.
which one for? I know for people it's a A1C, something like that.
A1C. Yep. Yeah. So that's a great question, Donnie. So typically diabetics it's pretty easy to diagnose diabetes because they're going to have just sky high blood glucose. So
Okay.
sometimes you get what's called stress hyperglycemia. That's basically, a dog or cat, they go into the clinic, they're being held by a stranger, they hear all the sounds, they smell all the smells. It's just a stressful situation. And so the body's response to stress is to shoot out more glucose in the blood to use for energy, so that for the stress or the fight or flight response. So that's totally normal. And sometimes you'll see that in the blood work. You'll see just a little bit of elevation in the blood glucose. But with a diabetic, it'll be sky high. Like there's no way that it's normal when it's so high. The other thing that we can use is called fructosamine. So that's the equivalent of the A1C in people. So it's a longer term. It shows you over the last 2 or 3 weeks or so what the blood glucose has been. So if the fructosamine is high, then you know that the average blood glucose has been high over the last few weeks.
Oh, okay, got it. Oh my gosh, so I'm now Googling right now, like can coconut water or natural because I've been giving Tuxedo coconut water from his Addison so that he can like, toxify too. Well, luckily Tuxedo doesn't have it, but I'm just now I'm getting because coconut water is a little bit sugary, but it says here. Okay. So yeah, it does. So okay, never. Yeah, it is not a direct cause of the disease itself in healthy dogs. Okay. All right. So
Yeah,
it
I
says
wouldn't see a problem with a small amount of it, and make sure it's just natural coconut water that doesn't have any added sugar.
No,
I mean,
it's just a
coconut
treat
water
that I
on its
give
own.
them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like instead of like the regular water, I put a little bit and then I mix it with water just
Yeah.
for them to feel like, okay, drink more water. It's like, I've been conditioning him to drink more water so that he can pee and we don't have any stones.
Yeah. Yep. Well, I
Ah,
think coconut water is pretty healthy on its own and just, in a limited amount for pets.
well, thank you for that, Dr. Amber. Well, for the pet parent listening who just discovered their pet might be at risk, what's the first step they should take today?
So for sure, if you see any symptoms of diabetes, like we talked about, the drinking a ton of water, peeing a lot, large appetite, losing weight, any of those things, I would definitely recommend going to your veterinarian to have an exam and some blood work, um, and see if, possibly there is diabetes. There's other things that can cause those same type of symptoms. So if you see those symptoms, diabetes is a concern, but typically screening blood work, will show you liver values, kidney values, and kind of screen for anything else that might be going on, and then give you a direction. Your veterinarian will talk to you about the results. And then sometimes it's further testing. Sometimes it's starting a treatment if you can diagnose something on that initial blood work.
Yeah, I feel like, that it's good to go through that with your vet. What's the next step if you know that if the vet thinks that it's at risk or like you have like symptoms that you've noticed and yeah, just have a good relationship and open communication with your vet will really help.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And I think just to quickly mention, typically, with diabetes, you always start with insulin, and there's different types of insulin. That's something that your vet will talk to you about, what's best for your pet. And along with, diet change, weight loss for sure with cats. So because cats tend to be type 2 diabetics, occasionally you can get them off of insulin eventually. I've had I've had a handful of cases of diabetic kitties that they got onto a good diet, a diabetic prescription diet. They lost weight, they exercised more. We got their blood glucose down with the insulin, and then eventually we were able to wean them off of the insulin and just keep them at a healthy weight and on that prescription diet. So that is a possibility in some cats. You'll still, want to uh, get them to lose weight. Typically dogs, though, it's a lifelong treatment because they tend to be type 1, so they're just not making insulin, so they need to be supplemented with insulin.
Yeah. Well, before we wrap up, with the holiday season coming up, which food should pet parents avoid or minimize for their pets? I mean, I already mentioned coconut water. Minimizing
Small
it.
amounts, it's okay.
Small
Yeah.
amounts only. But yeah, we'll begin with dogs and then talk about cats. Sorry, doctor.
Okay. Yeah, no, it's okay. So
Just trying to be light
we
here
all
because
know.
I was feeling the tension a little bit, but I just want to keep things light.
Yeah. No worries. So, chocolate, of course. We've talked about like bread dough, raw bread dough that's rising is
Yeah, you
toxic to
mentioned
dogs
that.
and cats.
I think we had a episode about that.
Yep, we did. Yeah. Onions
Ugh.
and grapes and raisins. Anything like in large amounts that's really fatty too. So, and then with cats, and we always have to think about the holiday plants. So, try to keep those away from your pets.
Poinsettia.
Yeah.
I was about to buy it today and I realized, I know that's toxic for the boys. So, because poinsettia is kind of nice for the holidays. So I ended up with lemon cypress like designs trees that I'm just gonna put on top.
Yeah. So the ASPCA has a great website about toxins and, poisons for dogs and cats. And you can go back and listen to our previous holiday episode where we talked about all of our toxins for dogs and cats around the holidays.
Yeah. All right. So takeaways for this discussion with Dr. Amber will be like, for one, since the holidays, just again, make sure that you don't give their, share your food to your for friends like or for kids. I think that's always I'm guilty of that sometimes, but I've been trying to be really mindful, especially with tuxedo, having all these other issues. So I'm just keeping things really healthy and very strict. And again, like the coconut water, I was so proud of giving him coconut water for the past like maybe a month, and I've seen him drink it and I'm happy. But again, not in excess. At least I know that we're talking about diabetes. It could be at risk because of the natural sugar content. So that's my takeaway. And that's it, Dr. Amber. Like, what's your takeaway for this discussion?
I think it's important to just be aware of what to look for diabetes and other types of diseases too. Any kind of abnormal symptoms that you see, take your pet to your veterinarian and have some testing done, have a good exam done. To make sure that we're keeping them as healthy as possible.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you, Dr. Amber, for guiding us through this year.
Well, thank you too, Donie.
As we wrap up today's episode and head into the holiday season, we want to thank you for being part of our community. Your dedication to your pet's health inspires everything we do. As we look toward the new year, remember that small, daily, and consistent habits are what builds long, healthy lives for the animals we love. So if you found this episode helpful, share it with another pet parent who wants their dog or cat to live longer and feel better.
And be sure to subscribe to Unleashed Curiosity and leave us a review. If you have questions, reach out anytime at podcast@vitalpetlife.com and give your pets a little extra love this season. Whether you're celebrating with family, friends, or spending a cozy night with your fur babies, we're wishing you a safe, healthy, joy-filled holiday. Happy holidays!
Happy holidays, and we can't wait to continue learning, growing, and unleashing curiosity with you.